afternoon and welcome to Dumfries Ice Bowl for Game 2 of the 2018 Irish Men's Curling Championships. We are in the second game of a best of three game series, with Team Wilson having won the first game by 16 shots to 7. After a 5-minute pre-game practice, Team Wilson have won the hammer. They had two very good draw shots, both biting the button, and so they will have hammer here in the first end playing the red stones. Team Gilmore are playing the blue stones. My name is Owen McCrossan and I'm joined in the commentary box with Louise Kerr. Hey, did you have a good lunch, Louise? Good break?
I did indeed, Owen. Yep, I had a roll and sausage here at the ice rink and a glass of milk, and it was lovely. And then I did a tour of TK Maxx and Tarf Valley Country Store, Laura Ashley's, and I do believe that Trish Bolt is treating me to KFC before we go home. Good old Trish. So anyway, I've got to concentrate now on the curling.
Yes, we'll save my tale of what I had for lunch for a bit later on. You see here Team Wilson have come around some centre guards that were put on by Team Gilmore. They've got one in the front of the 8 foot as well as one in the back of the 12. A heavy draw there from second Steve Callan. He is swept out the back by John Wilson. Steve had asked me to give a shout out to his wife Ailey and the kids if they're watching as well. Of course we have to say hello to all our hundreds and hundreds of viewers that we have. 35, geez, so it's more than I thought. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, you can shoot us a message if you know either of us, or you can send it to the Irish Curling Twitter or Facebook page. We'll pick it up that way as well. You can find us on Irish Curling Association. We're on Twitter and on Facebook. Team Wilson second. Craig White goes deep as well, leaving Team Gilmore an opportunity here to draw the button. So we saw quite a convincing win for Team Wilson in the first game. Louise, what do you think Team Gilmore have to do differently to turn this game around?
Well, I think probably just improve their accuracy. I think sometimes they were calling maybe the right shot, but just the execution wasn't quite where it should be. Maybe just read the ice a bit more and weight control. But it's all to play for first end, and I say it's the best of three. It'd be great if we went to a decider tomorrow morning.
There's a over-curled hit there. Just John Fury sweeping at the back of the house, so bit of an opportunity here for Team Gilmore. They're lying one shot and they have a chance to draw around. I think it would be a bit of a confidence booster for them if they could steal this first end. That's an excellent draw there from Team Gilmore, getting in behind the cover, and it looks like they're fully in the 8-foot. Putting some pressure now onto Team Wilson. Let's see how they respond.
Yep, Team Gilmore have certainly come out of the traps of this second game of the first end, so we can only surmise that Coach Carlin executed the hairdryer treatment at half time. Full time.
When we were down at practice, I asked Caroline if she'd spoken any words of wisdom. She said she'd got them ready and raring to go, so looks like that certainly worked. That's not a particularly good shot there from Team Wilson. Pushing their own out of contention. It looks like now Blue may be sitting 3. I believe Blue is sitting 2, apologies. I think there's a Blue there in the front of the 8-foot and then in the back of the 8-foot as well. But Team Gilmore are going to keep the pressure on and draw around these guards again. The shot was light there, but I think at least offers some protection. We'll see what Team Wilson elect to do here. Going right for the top 4. I suppose this late in the end they need to get something in, counting shot. We've got our first shout out of the game. It's to one Katie Kerr, who we believe is tuning in from California. So hello there, Katie. Thanks for getting out of your bed. Watching some curling today. And a great draw there. There's John Burns, our umpire, walking past the camera, getting his moment on the camera. But we've nice draw there, right to the button. Team Gilmore will probably try and come down and tap this back. Stone looks heavy as it slips past the one in the house. That's a A real shame for Team Gilmore. I think they'd probably just played a little bit too much weight at that one. No chance for Team Wilson to draw around. This would be an early test here for John Wilson to see if he has his draw weight. He didn't throw a practice draw in this game, which he did in the first game, so we'll see if he's still got that weight. That was just a bit light there. It still blocks the way in. I think Team Gilmore will probably try the same shot. I think if Andrew Gilmore can make this shot, it'll be pretty difficult for Team Wilson to score here. Louise, what do you think?
Yep, I'd say they're really needing a confidence booster on in the first end, Team Gilmore. So I'll just wait for Andrew's shot. David Hibbard in the head, and Steve Callan and Tom Roach are sweepers, but not sweeping at this moment. They're obviously fairly happy with the weight. Yep, I think they're going on to it now. And off again. Oh, perfect weight, just sailed past the intended target. So we've got John Wilson. Looks like he's maybe going to come up to the second shot at the back here, and that should be a 2 count the first end.
Team Wilson in the last game certainly used the hammer quite well. They scored 2s, 3s, 4s and a 5 at the end of the game, so I think a 2 here would be the perfect start for them. It hasn't been the best end. They've had some shots slip behind the tee line, but to come away with a 2, I think they'll be pretty pleased. The shot's on the way. Sweepers haven't touched it yet. Seems to be quite heavy. It's come to the back one, but I'm not sure if that will count. We shall see. They seemed pretty content before the shot that if it had come to the back one, it would count as second shot. Let's see what David and John decide. From that angle, I'm not so sure. They might have a measure for our umpire John Burns. Oh, I think John's marching down the ice.
His electronic measure, we wonder. This could be the first outing for his electronic measure.
Let's see, Louise, where's your money, red or blue?
I would go for red.
Okay, for the sake of balance, I'll go for blue. I would invite everyone watching at home, if you want to get involved, you can use our hashtag Battle in the Bowl. Or if you prefer, Duel in Dumfries. But it'd be good to have your comments and questions, certainly. We've had know when we measure, Louise isn't as excited now. And here it comes.
Umpires out there, this is a master class in how to take a measure between two stones. Just watch the master at work.
Key here is to push it away from you so that you can see where you're going and hopefully not trip over any stones. But he swings around to the blue, and looks like it's going to, yes, blue it is. So I was right, Louise, that means you. So that'll be a score of 1 for Team Wilson. Not a great start, but I think they'll be pretty content to have got a score on the board at least. Tom Roche starts out. Oh, sorry, no. John Fury starts off the end for Team Wilson. John, who wanted to say hi to any of the family that were watching.
Great supporters of Irish curling, they're all members, and they're also the recent winners of the ICA Glitter Tree competition for 2017. Congratulations.
And Louise, for those who might not be aware, could you explain a little bit about the Glitter Tree?
The Glitter Tree is a highlight of the curling calendar for all members of the Irish Curling Association, where they send in photographs of their Christmas tree, and it's always judged by a very famous curling personality. We've been so lucky down the years that the most famous curlers all over the world are queuing up to judge the Glitter Tree competition. We've had world champions, senior world champions. We've had Olympic gold medalists. This year we're very lucky to have Annette Nordberg, 2-time Olympic skip, won Olympic gold in Torino in 2006 and Vancouver in 2010. So there's one more Glitter Tree to go if you want to enter. Christmas 2018 will be the last ever ICA Glitter Tree competition, and we will be revealing the judge later on in the year.
This isn't a textbook start, I would say, for either team. There was a nice centre guard that overcurled a little bit there for Team Wilson, and Team Gilmore attempted to put up a corner guard that didn't quite curl enough, and now Team Wilson have put on a corner guard which really wasn't what they had wanted. So let's see if Team Gilmore can take advantage of this to try and put some pressure early on into Team Wilson, force a mistake and maybe score a multiple point end.
Just looking through the team lineup for both teams. Team Wilson, John Wilson, this is his first Irish Championships, and he has not represented Ireland internationally before, although the other members of the team all have. Whereas if we move on to Team Gilmer, again there are 4 members of the team, and only one, Steve Callan, hasn't so far curled at international level for Ireland.
I think we'd have a pretty experienced team going to the European Championships, no matter which team is selected. Everyone has some international experience. That's a nice draw there from Team Wilson, although it is just behind the tee line. I know we'd talked after the first game that some of the stones were just slipping behind the tee line, which was allowing Team Gilmore to capitalise. So they'll be slightly frustrated with that, but it's a better shot than their first one. That was a nice draw there by Craig White, his second for Team Wilson. And he wanted to say hello to his wife Fiona, who we think is watching, although I know with the new baby Fraser, she might be trying to get some sleep when she can. again. Now that was one that stayed a little bit wider. I'm not sure, Louise. There might be a bit of a straight patch in the ice there. And both teams have been called out by it, and that's one promoted into the wings. So Team Wilson now lie 2. Again, that one hanging a little bit wide, so there may just be slightly misreading of the ice here, but blocks off that port, so Team Gilmore are now going to go after this one in the wing. Try and maybe, could be a double takeout here, or even just a hit and roll. Unfortunately that was wide, there was a miss there. We shall see what Team Wilson like to do. They're going to try and promote that red that they'd just thrown into the house.
Not only are there Irish international players on the ice at Dumfries Ice Bowl this weekend, but I also see some Welsh international players up practicing. They'll have some competitions coming up. Most importantly, the Four Nations next weekend, which Ireland are hosting at Stranraer Ice Rink. Just watching that shot there, just too light, just didn't punt it into the rings. Yep, the Four Nations takes place annually between teams from England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. Always hotly contested competitions between men's rinks, women's rinks and mixed rinks, and also a lot of socialising as well.
And of course Ireland are coming off their second successive Triple Crown at the Four Nations, so hopefully in the hosting year we can back that up with some more success. So Team Wilson didn't quite manage to get the promotion that they were after, but with that rollout it's really quite difficult to get in there now. Team Gilmore are probably going to have to clear up some of these front stones before they can access that one shot. So we shall see if Team Wilson persist with that tap up, or if they come down this other side of the ice. They haven't really played down there, so that would be tricky in a way to try and do that. But yeah, they're going to persist with the path that they've played and try a double tap or a single tap into the rings. Stones on the way, seems to be high of a line. Yeah, again, just that path, perhaps catching the teams out. And then a similar result to the first one. It does push that blue right the way through. We'll see now what Team Gilmore elect to do, whether they try and clear some stuff up, or whether they just try a draw again. Tom Roach there, just passing on some thoughts to skip Andrew Gilmore. Tom had wanted to say hello to Ewan and Erin, who he thinks will be watching, but he's told me he was pretty sure that his wife would not be watching. She'd perhaps be watching some paint dry instead. Looks like Team Gilmore are potentially looking at this. They need to be careful now with this time. So for those who are unaware, the teams here are timed on thinking time. So you get 38 minutes of thinking time for a 10-end game. And thinking time is what it says in the tin, really. The timing doesn't count the running time of the stone. It only times when in between shots. So from the finish of the previous stone to when the curler passes the tee line, that's when that thinking time will stop. So they will have used a fair chunk of time in that end, so they just need to manage that as the game goes on. Stone over curls a little bit. It looks like it didn't quite have as much weight as they wanted, but nevertheless a decent result, and they've opened up a path at least. It'll be up to Team Wilson to try and choke that off if they get one here. Maybe half buried behind these guards with in the top of the 12. It would be quite difficult for Team Gilmore to score. Sweepers are sweeping this vigorously to get past the guard. If they do, it looks like it will be really good weight. That's an excellent effort there from the sweepers to take it right the way into the 8 foot. So this does look like it's quite a difficult situation now for Team Gilmore. I have to give another shout out here to the psychologist for my mixed doubles team. Along with my partner Jen Ward, we've got our head psycho Gillian Russell. So she's watching along at home. Thanks for your kind words, Gillian. Andrew Now's just played this one a little bit wide, it seems, but he might get a. Oh, that's an excellent rub he's just got there. I'm not sure if that was the initial call, but we'll count if John Wilson will move out of the way. We'll see how that's ended up, but it does look like blue is shot. What would you do here, Louise? Would you like the look at just a straight draw, or would you try and get greedy and tap it back?
I think it's really good to try the draw. Certainly give an ice for draw weight. John Fury out in the 12 foot, so there must be a fair bit of pull on that side of the sheet. Well, it seems to be just here what the coaches are discussing when I was going past. There seems to be a sort of straight bit on the other side of the sheet that's catching the teams out.
Yeah, I think here, even if you're in the top of the 4 foot, even if you're not shot, it'd be quite difficult for the opposition to get a second point in there, and I think if you had forced, it would be a decent result. John Wilson calling his sweepers off, so I'm not sure if it's hanging high, maybe. Yeah, it does look like it's a wee bit pacey. Well, if it pulls at the end, it is pulling. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. And that's an excellent shot from John Wilson.
Yep, John Wilson playing the ideal skip shots there. John was out of curling for a few years. He was a very good junior player, coached at Stranraer Ice Rink, and as we said in the first game, won the Scottish Schools Championships as skip in 2002. And the highlight of the competition, I think, for John and his team was that Rona Martin, who'd just won the Olympic gold in what was it again? It was in Salt Lake City, that's right. Presented him with his medal, so John was very chuffed with that.
Difficult shot here for Andrew Gilmore. I think the pin may well be open. I think that redstone is at the back of the button, so sweepers are guiding it in here and working their full brunt. That is a great shot, and it seems that John Fury has tapped the blues, so that is a... Oh, maybe they're having a second look. Well, there's applause here. There's applause here up in the players' lounge. So that is 100 Gilmore. We're all square after 2 ends.
Yep, lovely shot there from Andrew, just to follow the same line and perfect rate to land right on top of John Wilson's shot, and just show that anything John can do, Andrew can do better.
Start off the third end, and Team Wilson once again have the hammer.
Okay, it's getting crowded now in the commentary box. There's 3 of us. Aaron Carmen's come for a heat up from down the stairs at the side of the ice where he's been in control of the timing of the game. So how's that been going on?
With my impartial timer's hat on, of course I can't commentate the game. I've been educated by JB, but I think I've been given a reprieve for a few minutes to say what I like. Timing's been going pretty well. Teams have been playing the time, looking at the clocks, so doesn't seem to be any issues with the teams that way.
And how's the ice been playing?
Seems to have been good. Seems to have been swing both ways. A little bit different on this sheet. Just on one side of the sheet, it's been catching them out a little bit there. But it's very much a much tighter start to this game. It's much tetchier. You can see young James Russell with a bit of testosterone there. Just been a wee bit cocky, so he's been put back in his box a bit here, and it's a much tighter game, which is good.
With your experience, Aaron, of course you've won an Irish Championship and you've played in quite a few. So, what do you think the difference is from a kind of second game to a first game?
Well, it depends how much the teams have played together before they come to the competition. Both teams here are relatively newest to playing with each other, certainly with John Wilson and James Russell's team, so it'll certainly shape itself the more they play together, but I think they've certainly gelled a little bit quicker than Andrew's team here.
Okay, and I suppose if you were in Team Gilmore's position, this is kind of a win or go home situation. How does that affect maybe your preparation or your first couple of ends?
Well, it is, but it's early days in the game. We're 10 games, so there's no need to panic for quite a while yet, and just keep plugging away and see where you can get to. Try and expose the weakness in the other team, which for me is definitely James Russell.
Completely impartial commentary. Brilliant, Aaron. Just coming back to the game, that's quite a good shot there, I think, from was that from no, that was from Craig, of course it was from Craig, couldn't have been from James, that's what I would say, but looks like there's still some guards up front that Team Gilmore can make use of.
Timing's become an important part of curling latterly, and especially they changed the rules to thinking time, so you only time the teams when the skip's in the head thinking about what shot he's asking his player to play until the actual player who's playing crosses the tee line and the delivery. So it speeds up the game and makes it important to make a decision quickly on what you want to do and save time for later in the game. So if you have any questions at all on timing, we've got Aaron here, please text in.
Yes, I think that was really positive change actually from thinking time, from running time to thinking time. So with the running time you used to have 72 minutes, but there was a thought that every so often teams would just blank it and throw them into the house and just hit, so they could save themselves some time. Whereas now you're not penalised for playing a draw than playing a hit, and that was kind of the idea of it, that you would encourage some aggressive curling, which I think it certainly has. Team Wilson not quite getting the roll there that they were looking for. There are some stones here out front that Team Gilmore can make use of. It just depends how confident perhaps they're feeling with their draw weight. I think there's definitely a draw in there. Aaron, would you be one for hitting or drawing in this situation?
I would certainly be drawing there, but something that's been evident from down on the timers bench is just a little bit of team dynamic here between Andrew and Tom Roach. Just a bit of maturity in the game, and someone who knows how to call the game. So I think they're still just finding their feet between them as to who's best for the shot call. Sometimes just left them in a position of a wee bit betwixt and between.
I think it's very interesting. We did notice that in some of the shots that Tom was inputting. I think team input is vital on the whole, but I think once you've had that couple of games or years together, you know when to say something and perhaps when not to say something.
Just continuing on the theme of time, and I think it's important to have somebody in the team who is responsible for keeping their eye on the team time clocks and just making sure that the players are ready to play when it's their turn. If you were watching the Roar of the Rings recently, the winning team, Kevin Cooey's team, their lead player Ben Hebert, he is the gatekeeper, the timekeeper for that team, and just make sure that everybody's up to speed.
Team Wilson here, I think they're trying to split this one into the housing line too. That'd be quite good for them. Sweepers like the weight, but it looks maybe a wee bit light. Maybe a little tap here wouldn't be a bad outcome. And yeah, they do split it off, but unfortunately don't bring that second one into the rings.
I should explain that the Roar of the Rings was the Canadian Curling Association qualifier for their Olympic representatives. It took place at the beginning of December.
Just on the timing, we do have to once again shout out to not only Aaron but Patricia Bolt, who's down there braving the cold doing the timing. I mentioned in the first game how much of a difference it makes. I think it's really valuable as a competitor to have that timing. Prepares you for that world and European level really well, and then with John Burns as a really experienced umpire, it helps too. I think Team Wilson are just going to try and take advantage of this centre guard and this one at the top of the 12 and try and draw around it. Wilson places his first shot here, and he's called him on for line.
Apologies to those viewers at home. I know there's a bit of a glare from the number 3 in the head there at the
He
moment.
did consider putting on his anti-shine cream this morning, but unfortunately it didn't get there. That's just over curled there, and it's showing a half stone to Andrew Gilmore, but still pretty decent shot. This would be tricky to pick this out. It seems that Dave Hibbert is maybe electing the draw to the 4 foot, which would be a good shot if you could make it. It would be quite tight, I think, Aaron. Do you think past the corner guards, or do you believe that draw is there?
No, I think it's a bit snug for that. It's a bit snug.
Well, they've elected to play it, so maybe we get to find out. Draws on the way. The sweepers were on it early, but they've been called off. This looks pretty good line actually. Oh, he's just snuck by, but he is quite a heavyweight, so it sounds. And yeah, Aaron was right that heavyweight wasn't there. So let's see, are they going to try this split again? I think this is John's last stone, so I think playing that split for a 3 would be a good shot. Would you be elected to play this, Aaron?
Yeah, something similar, because even if you just edge the guard and cover the 4 foot the other way, it's well result.
Yeah, with this last stone, if he just does play that T weight, he can draw in for his 2 points, and if he does just feather the guard out front, then that would give him his 3. He doesn't have to move it very far at all. The key thing here will just be trying to get the right ice. This is the side that had caught them out a couple of times, so we'll see how they get on.
At the European Sea League, Ireland have been looking just in the last few championships just to come up short at the death, and the top 2 places go up to the B division, and Ireland have come away with bronze medals, having lost the 1-2 playoff I think a couple of times, so I really are hoping this time to make it up to B.
The sweepers are off this one. It doesn't look like it's going to curl enough to wick this one in, but here it comes. And he's definitely scored a 2. We're not sure, is he? And he's rolled it on for a 3. That's an excellent score, a 3 from John Wilson. I think I know I can speak myself, and probably Aaron, you would agree that having been in C division for a couple of years, there's been a couple of times when we've lost out. There's been for instance, to Slovakia and Slovenia, to France and Spain, and these teams are doing quite well in the B division. So I think it does give us heart in a way that should we get up there, we'll be able to more than hold our own. Slovakia, of course, who ended up in the A division, coached by ICA member Alan Mitchell, and they were in the A division this year in St Gallen in Switzerland. Head into the 4th end now. Team Gilmore have the hammer, and they'll be hoping to get a 2 here to not let Team Wilson go too far adrift, I think. And I think that would be key to not let them go into hitting mode and kind of see the game out.
Absolutely. Just have the opportunity for that. Just about 2 points on Western Sea League previously. In a lot of the early stages, we weren't. We were playing well in the games, and then whenever it came to the 3-4 and the finals, we were a little bit one-dimensional. In that our game plan had been the same throughout the week, and some of the teams that then beat us in those later games, their coaches kind of saw that, and we didn't do anything to change that. So hopefully, I think what we're seeing here today is teams that can draw, teams that can hit. So there's a bit more very dynamic in this, so that bodes well for Ireland.
Hope so. So Team Gilmore again have started to try to put up a corner guard, so that's maybe not quite as far over as they want, but still a guard nonetheless that they can utilise throughout the end. It's a good time maybe just to say again, if you have any comments or questions, then they're more than welcome. You can join in with our hashtag Battle in the Bowl, which is our staple for these Irish Men's Championships.
So speaking of staple, Owen, what's your favourite halftime snack?
Great question, Aaron. I think I'm definitely a banana man. Maybe even a cereal bar. I know when I was quite fortunate, I had the privilege of going to Lethbridge in Canada to coach the mixed doubles team last year, and I thought I was doing them a treat by bringing Percy Pigs all the way from the UK, but I was told that they didn't like them. So that was great. I had 4 bags of Percy Pigs to myself on the bench for the week. What about yourself, Aaron?
I'm more a chucky picky man. You need that energy boost after 5 ends to get you going again. Bananas are good, they're a bit of a slow burn, but you need that hit as well.
Get the banana and then the chocolate, that's good, yes. What about yourself, Louise? What would the senior women do, and what did they do in Canada?
Senior women brought copious amounts of jelly babies and Haribos. I don't like the cola bottle ones, they're not my favourites. But any healthy snacks were just totally ignored. I remember once bringing mango slices out to, I think it was a mixed, and John Joe turned his nose up and went, what's that? So we forgot about mango slices after that. No, anything sugary, sweet and unhealthy goes down well with the senior ladies.
Team Gilmore here, they're sitting 2 against, so they're going to start to hit. I think the key thing for them in this game that perhaps they didn't demonstrate in the last game is just using that softer hit weight. I see Andrew had called for maybe a half weight or a barrier weight, which I think is really important for them to keep stones about in the house. I know previously they'd in a couple of the shots, the guys were saying that they were clocking Andrew, 1.7, 1.6 split.
Fairly firm from here, it looks fairly firm. It's bigger than barrier coming in from what I can see. So.
Yeah, just looking hanging a little bit wide, but if you can roll it all over here, that's not a bad result. It's kept it in the house, which is kind of plan A, and it is shot. So Team Wilson are going to have to make a decision here whether they come after this or perhaps even take off the guard.
This is where the thinking time obviously comes into the game. It helps if you've got someone that has been experienced in the house like this and can make these decisions quickly, and John obviously has and knows what shot he wants to play.
Yeah, he seems to be electing for the hit and roll here. Must be tied away here. The sweepers have been on it. They're doing a good job actually to hold it. And if this sticks around, that'll be a very good result from Craig White. That is good. Now they sit 2 spread out well across the house. So Team Gilmore are probably going to have to chase this red or even draw right around.
Just another sort of trivia note here, because Andrew Gilmore's head's popping under the scoreboard. So I just popped along and asked his mum what height he was. So Andrew's tallest player on the ice coming in at 6'1".
That's a decent shot there from Team Gilmore. They've kept the shooter around, which is good.
I'm just quite glad with some of Louise's stats that I'm not actually playing, because she might have the scales down on the ice as well there.
Who knows, maybe at half time she'll jump down and ask someone what they weigh. Could go for star signs maybe next. And again, they're keeping things well separated in the house, Team Wilson, so Team Gilmore have to make a decision here whether they want to try and go for the blank or whether they'll try and score their 2. They do have a guard that they can try and use, so we can see how this one goes. They'll be trying to get under the cover of the guard for certain. Is this going to be a lucky double? Oh, great plan B.
And we'll look for the apology here. No, not coming.
Perhaps that was the call. It's key here for Team Wilson not to get too down about that. They've been in control of the end, and yes, it may have been a fortunate outcome for their opponents, but just to draw around this guard is a plenty makeable shot. I mean, if they were happy with the blank, I perhaps here would consider peeling off the guard. Forcing your opponent to blank at an even end is never a bad thing. I think that comes into kind of scoreboard management, where the idea would normally be that you would want the blank end, or the hammer in the even ends. As Aaron is pointing out, that is heavy. He's heavy. He's through. He's right through. Again, that's a shout out to our Townby legends. For those unaware, Ireland were the World Men's Senior Champions in 2012 at Townby in Denmark. Townby, of course, will be the host for the European C Division this year. The winners of this competition will go to. Team Gilmore will really want to utilise this guard now. And if they can, they might be able to force that score 2 that they've been looking for. This one does look like it's pulling up quite a bit short. Despite the best efforts of super sweepers, Tom Roach and Stevie Callan. Again, now are they going to peel or are they going to draw around? A double peel would be a good outcome, but again, if they can get round that double guard, it'd be difficult for Team Gilmore to get rid.
Just peel the one closest to the house there. I think it's a makeable shot.
Absolutely, I think if you go for that one near the house, you would hopefully leave yourself a kind of hack weight shot if they had got around it, and that seems what they've elected for in the end. There's a lot of discussion here over this ice call. It seems that there's quite a bit more ice than maybe I would have expected. They must be trying to save the shooters so they can roll on into the rings, which I think is a sensible call.
I think that's it, just to edge that one away and bite somewhere and force them into a hit.
Absolutely, because if they did roll the shooter right the way out, they would leave their opposition with that free draw round, and then John would have quite a difficult shot perhaps to play to limit the scoring. John Fury has called the sweepers on immediately. They're sweeping all the way. John Wilson disagrees now, they've called them off. Is this going to roll on? It looks like it's going to roll right the way out. That's a bit of a line call there, I would say there, Aaron, would you agree?
Yeah, I think there was certainly a bit of miscommunication there between 3 and Skip as to just how much that was going to draw, and they just didn't quite get it right in this case.
There's the opportunity for Andrew Gilmore to get the Skip's juice, as they would say in Canada. And the draw's coming down. The sweepers aren't looking at it too much. I think if they can bury this, then it'll be really good. Again, perhaps not the awareness of the directional sweeping with Tom Roach nearest to the stone. We talked in the first game about your push stroke being stronger than your pull. So Steve Callan had been closest to that stone. They might have got a little bit more finish. Of course, there are these WCF mandated pads that are used in this event. John Wilson is now going to come and try and hit this one at the top of the floor. Perhaps with a similar weight to his first one. If he could check inside, that would be a great result. Do you think that would be plan A, Aaron?
Plan A, hit the stone. Plan B, hit and bury.
Yes. It's always good to get rid of something first. I'll have to be aware of this one, just looking at the bottom left of your picture there. And it's coming into the house and just skates over the top of that one, yes. And Andrew manages to roll that right the way out. So I expect we'll see a blank here. I think even in throwing the blank, there's something to be learned. This is a free throw. He can perhaps read a patch of ice that he's not seen before, or something that he's maybe seen and has surprised him. So I think it's still important here to use this. There may be going for the draw here, which is perhaps a surprise.
Well, maybe at this stage in the game, if and get another shot, just keep the legs up and two down. So it's maybe a minor mistake.
That has come into the top of the rings, and that is a score of 1 for Team Gilmore. That's 4-2 heading into the fifth end, and Team Wilson will have hammer.
Just a shout out to the Irish senior men's team who are having a wee run out this weekend at the Kinross over 40s Bonspiel. Not sure of the lineup, but the 5-man squad of John Joe Kenny, Bill Gray, Neil Fife, David White and David Hume. So best of luck to them at Kinross in their preparation for the World Championships in Sweden in April.
And Louise, our hundreds of viewers at home may not be aware that you're an international superstar yourself with the Irish senior women, so would you be able to give us a bit of an update as to how your preparations are going, or what the team going to Sweden is?
Yes, indeed. We've got a 4-man team going to Sweden to represent Ireland in the ladies' seniors. Mario Kane, myself, Christina Graham and Claire McCormick. We've had the chance to play at the Greenacres European Invitation Seniors in November. Unfortunately, work commitments and holidays means we haven't had a chance to get on the ice since then. But along with our coach Gordon McIntyre, we have an intense programme in the run-up to the championships in April.
Lots of jelly babies, I'm sure. So with that first stone slipping into the rings there for Team Gilmore, I think that's a bit of a mistake that they wouldn't have wanted. It gives Team Wilson the opportunity now to just hit this and perhaps roll over to the side and keep the play in the house, which they're able to do. I'm not sure if that one's biting. John's just having a look, and we'll see Andrew have a look too. I think he's too interested. He's just going to guard no matter what. Seems that stone's just over the hog line, but with the ice swinging so much here, that's not much use, unfortunately.
And we've a little bit of an update from Gillian on how the seniors are playing. They have played 3, won 3, and are in the semi-final tomorrow at 9 a.m. That, of course, is when the wheels will come off, because they'll all be out having a beer tonight.
These are athletes. Come on, Aaron, give them some credit. Of course, we do have to give a shout out to Gillian as head coach of that seniors team. Having secured a bronze medal last year in Canada, they'll be hoping to do 1 or 2 better, in fact, moving forward. I think Team Wilson are trying to draw here, but that's unfortunately fallen a little bit short. John Fury will be best pleased with that. But no, there's a lot for Team Gilmore to be able to hide behind here, so they'll try and make use of it.
Okay, we've got playing schedule here for the seniors. So the women are in the same group as England, Finland, Italy, Latvia, New Zealand, Scotland and Switzerland. Whereas the Irish men will play Croatia, Finland, Latvia, Norway, Russia and the United States.
Senior men had the United States last year, so it was a very exciting game I remember watching. But that'll be good, a bit of some domestic battles for yourselves against England and Scotland. Reminiscent of the Four Nations, of course. And that's a good draw there from...
That's nice.
Well done, Steve. That was a good draw right into the full 8 foot, so Team Wilson are going to have to chase this, and this could be quite dangerous for them.
one of the interesting things that certainly I'm picking up with watching John Wilson is the introduction of 2 or 3 more hand signals and different calls, calling a lot of 3/4 weights, scratching his back and his bum quite a lot. I'm not quite sure what some of those calls are. I don't think some of the team are either, but it's certainly making for interesting viewing.
Yes, I know that John is definitely a favourite of the Irish women's team, who are very happy to see him being live streamed today. There was some interesting conversation on Sunday at our training game about signs and what various signs meant. So I think there's maybe been some translation going on across the week. That's a good shot there from Craig White. He does remove the shot, but unfortunately rules out himself. Again, perhaps just a little misjudgment of the line. This will give Team Gilmore a chance to draw around again. I think a steal here for Team Gilmore would really give them momentum coming into the break. How important do you think that is for them, Aaron?
Well, certainly looking at the first game and indeed this today, there hasn't been a steal yet, so I think that will be difficult. Certainly push the dynamic of this game.
Absolutely. I think the story of the first game was the efficiency with hammer. Team Gilmore were forced a few times to a single point, whereas Team Wilson were scoring, as I said, 3s, 4s and a 5 to finish the game. And that draw unfortunately is wrecked. So Team Wilson will just try and hit and roll away and look to build their 2 moving into the 5th end, or after the 5th end. If they were able to come into the break at 6-2, that would be a really, really healthy lead at half time.
Just going back to a kind of trivia queen here, that the World Senior Gold in 2012 was not the only gold medal that Irish teams have won. That won gold at B Division in 2005. That was in Garmisch-Partenkirchen. No, sorry, it was in Fussen, 2007. And in 2010, the Irish ladies team took the gold medal in the first ever C Division, which was played at Greenacres, skipped by the coach of Team Gilmore, Carlin Hillard.
That was a really nice shot there by Team Wilson, a nice controlled weight. I think we've talked about that and talked about the importance of that, just to be able to keep your stones around. But there seems to be a bit of a gear shift here, Aaron, from Team Gilmore. They're drawing around, seem to be going quite hard for the steal. Is that something you think they need to do?
Yeah, I think they're going to try and push and be quite aggressive here and get it in and just try and force something out of this game.
Absolutely, and as you can see here, they're trying to bend this one right in. I think that there is good burying this, even if it is slightly behind the tee line, and force Team Wilson into a freeze, and that is an excellent shot there from David Hibbard. See John Wilson asking his team how much they can see of it, and from our angle it doesn't look like they could see very much at all. They're going to try a back ring weight just to tap it, even if they can move it out of the 4-foot. That would be a good result for them, and forcing Team Gilmore to do something with it. There's no communication here from the team, as this stone does look high. James Russell has just edged it. I think it's not a bad result, Aaron. What do you think?
Yeah, not quite enough, and James is sometimes guilty of just pushing that wee bit hard and not believing in the true weight that needs to be played for the draw. But it's still not a bad result.
And coming back to our trivia fans, of course, we haven't forgotten the question that we asked you in Game 1, which was what was the capital of Guyana. So we'll come to that at the halftime break, and don't worry, I will actually give the answer. I won't say the letter G. Sweepers here working hard on this one. They're trying to bring it all right the way in, and it does look good if they can get past this front one. That is an excellent shot from David Hibbard. And there's applause ringing out here from proud mums. Carolyn coach, as we'd said, of the team is also David's mum, and she's incredibly happy with that outcome. This is looking quite dangerous now for Team Wilson. I think, as you'd said, Aaron, there hasn't been a steal all week, but this is looking like it could be one.
Well, in fairness, we've only been here for a day.
Well, I was here yesterday, so. Hard sweeping here. Oh, John's getting really loud here. This is looking like a good one. Oh, when they've come off, have they overswept this? That's a very good effort from James Russell. Yeah, it is slightly exposed, so I think at a hack weight, as Dave is indicating here, I think Andrew can come after this. I know James's fans. There's one or two that have sent me a message. Will be happy with that shot. It's not his mum. Although he did ask me to give her a shout out. He said to wait until the second half of the game, just in case she took her time finding the right link. But Marina, if you're watching, we're saying hello, and hope you had a lovely Christmas and a Happy New Year. I think if Team Gilmore are able to hit this and roll a little bit to the inside, then it is looking really dangerous for Team Wilson. John might be left with a cold draw to the button.
Certainly, I'm able to peek around the window and seeing that coming. It's coming with a bit more pace than we certainly expected, but it's wrecked in the front there. So a bit of a reprieve there just now. Yeah,
it'll give Team Wilson an opportunity here. Suddenly, a steal looked like it could be a multiple score. I think if they get one even onto the top 4, top 8 would be okay. Oh, we're even nominating a run back here. I think even if he does make the double peel, this is perhaps a sensible call. If he does make the double peel, then that would leave that blue one exposed, and it would remove the danger of giving up that steal.
Certainly a new dynamic that John Wilson has brought to the team, just to explore the opportunity of shots like this, where percentage-wise, otherwise the team might have gone. That's a tricky make, but there's a bit more confidence in have a go at this. So we'll see what he makes of it.
Be interesting. It looks like they're playing this inside out. I don't think we've had a shot come inside out so far in the game, so we'll see how that goes. I would expect this to be at quite a substantial weight, would you?
Yes, John Wilson's for playing these at lightweight.
There's some early yelling here. The sweepers are going. Looks like it's overcurled, but that double peel, as we'd said, was a good option, and actually he's kept that one hanging around, but it's gonna.
As you can see from John in the head there, he had no need to call that at all. He apologised to John Wilson. So it's just an error in the call sweeping there, but not a disaster.
I think that's good. We'll see if Andrew will be trying to not leave a double on here, but even leaving a double for a score of 1 isn't a bad outcome from this end. And I think they'll be content. Just having a debate here in the commentary box about what hands we would play this shot on. It's a big weight certainly, so we'll hope that he doesn't take out his own. And that's a good shot, I think. Now the interesting thing here is this: if this hit in the nose, would they all go? Will that second one that's frozen there on the side of the 4, just on the tee line, would that catch that one at the back? So that's not an angle that John Fury's looked at. He might not be interested in that. Oh, here he goes now. Must have heard me. I wonder if we're being broadcast out into the arena. that would be a very, very good outcome in this end if they can bring that one at the top of the 12 foot into count. But I think that again they'd be content with a score here. Again, John's played quite a firm win at this one, which was expected. There's nothing from the sweepers, so still high of line at the moment. Oh, now that seems to have been slightly high, and he's clipped over the top, and that's a steal of 2, in fact, which was quite surprising from that end. I think the team will be quite disappointed by that. So we head into the break with the scores level. Now we end into the fifth end break, so that'll be about 5 minutes. So,
are you not meant to be somewhere with some bananas, Owen?
I left the bananas down there beforehand, Darren. I think I'll leave this fifth end break in the capable hands of the coach, Martin Sutherland. Now Aaron has departed to go back and time the second half of the game. Well, I'm going to go ice side to check how the teams are doing and then be able to report back to you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back now to the second half of Game 2 of the Irish Men's Championship 2018. We're here in the Dumfries Ice Bowl in Dumfries, and I was just down outside there talking to the teams, and I think both teams are in quite positive spirits. Team Gilmore have taken the first steal of the championship, and they're a steal of 2 as well to bring scores level. I think they're very, very upbeat, but Team Wilson were saying they were just keeping things in perspective. They know now it's a 5-end game. They have 3 hammers theoretically to Team Gilmore's 2, so they're still quite confident that they could see this one out. So we've got some short stones here from Team Gilmore that Team Wilson will look to utilise and try and draw around these corner guards.
Musing before the game started as to how many representative caps for Ireland John Fury has, because he certainly started a long time ago playing for Ireland in 2004. So if anybody has internet access, could you look up the WCF history section, and it'll give you player information, and text me. We've got it right here. Owen's on the ball. He's got 57. I thought there were more than that. Anyway, 57.
And speaking of John Fury, that was an excellent draw there behind that corner guard. Maybe it slipped just a little bit deep, just behind the tee line, but nevertheless they were happy with that draw. It just scraped by that top blue, so really good stone from him. Now Team Gilmore trying and follow it down, and looks like, if this curls enough, this looks like a pretty decent shot. And he's left himself unfortunately in that gap, so Team Wilson will be able to hit and roll here. If they can hit and roll away under cover, then that'll be a very good result for them. So Louise, did you get a half-time snack yourself?
I didn't thought about it, but then I thought, no, KFC's coming up on the horizon, so I'm just keep my powder dry for KFC.
It was a bit of a mistake there from Team Wilson, but it's an okay result. They've cleared up the front a little bit, and they are still in control. Team Gilmore are going to have to guard here, and they're going to have to guard well. If this is too long, or if it doesn't quite cover the red, then there will be a chance for a promotion takeout here. Not an easy shot though for Team Wilson. Just looking here, and John Fury has represented Ireland at 10 different international competitions, 5 European C groups, 4 European C groups, and 1 World Mixed Doubles. And I believe that World Mixed Doubles was here, Louise, and that was with yourself.
It was here. Yeah. We played together. We won the Playdowns in 2014. It was December 2013, and that won us the right to represent Ireland in the World Mixed Doubles Championships here at Dumfries Ice Bowl the following April. So it's a most enjoyable experience. Played 7 games, lost 6 and won 1. We beat Germany. Our coach for the week was Irish stalwart PJ Wilson, John's father, who was in need of counselling at the end of that particular week.
That's a bit of a mistake there from Team Wilson, but I won't be too disappointed. The guard for Team Gilmore had done its job, and I know PJ is certainly watching at home. He had called John after the first game and given him a bit of a report on how he thought he'd done. Of course, I'll leave that between father and son. quite an interesting dynamic here in this second game, and I mean I find it in the mixed doubles in the best of three. I felt almost under more pressure in the second game. We were 1-up, and I was maybe just focusing a bit too much on the outcome. I thought, if I do well in this game, I get to go to the World Championship, I get to go to Sweden. And that might just be coming into the thoughts of the players for Team Gilmore. There's nothing to lose. They just need to see what happens. Whereas Team Wilson, that carrot is pretty close.
Yep, I agree with you there, Owen. It seems that the Team Gilmore kind of relaxed into this game and are throwing the stones freely without any tension. So, whereas Team Wilson maybe saw the finishing line a bit too soon.
That's a good peel there from James. I think that they'll just try and keep things simple. There will come a point though if Team Gilmore keep guarding. Maybe a point where they try to double run back or perhaps just a freeze onto this one at the back of the button. It does look like the pin is open, so there will be perhaps something for them to get at. But we'll see where this guard ends. The sweepers are working on this guard a little bit, trying to get over the hog line. It is safely over, and it does seem to be a good guard. That's nicely in place. We'll see if John is going to continue with this peel, and it looks like he is. He's going to peel off the guard, and so this looks like this is how this end is going to pan out. And we'll see who blinks first. John is calling clean on his sweepers. Seems like he's content with this throw, and that is a good peel by James Russell. They're asking the question again in their opposition. Andrew heads down to the hack to try and replace that guard. If he can successfully do so, as I said, there maybe will be a question asked of Team Wilson, if they will take on the freeze or if they'll try the double again.
Yep, as long as they keep guarding, it looks like that blue stone may see where it is and give Team Gilmore maybe 2 consecutive steals. All to play for.
So this looks maybe a little bit heavier, but it's looking quite good, and he's replaced that pretty perfectly. And it's a little bit tighter, so maybe this run back would be a possibility, and that's what John Fury's maybe signalling. And we'll see what they decide here. It seems like the peel is the first call, certainly. Each team does have 1 timeout. None were called in the first game, so perhaps we'll see it in this. This game is certainly tighter, so we may see a timeout called. Perhaps not here, but sooner. Calling a timeout, of course, in the 6th end of a 10-end game could be dangerous. You never know when you could be bamboozled, perhaps coming down the 9th or 10th ends.
Big shot here for John Wilson. He really hasn't had too much pressure put on him so far in either game, but this is a must-make shot.
Yeah, I think he came through quite well with that freeze earlier on in the game, so we'll see how his hitting goes. He did miss a hit, obviously, with his last shot, and that's perhaps not the outcome they were looking for. And they have left one guarding maybe the inside edge of that red. So we'll see. Looks like Team Gilmore are content just to guard once more, and if they do make this guard, then we'll see John, I'd say, try and draw the button. He hasn't drawn in an end or so could be tricky, but he'll trust in his sweepers and see if he can get that. But first, of course, Team Gilmore have to replace that guard. David Hibbert just indicating to his sweepers where he wants this stone to end up. Andrew's calling them off. It seems like it's pretty good. Well, that's a pretty perfect shot. I think it's been a really good end from Team Gilmore, actually. Put Team Wilson under a lot of pressure, and let's see what John elects to do here. I think the double run back would be very tricky.
The cold draw to the button, really. Can't see anywhere chipping that stone out of there. I think John Fury's kind of looking to see if there's any way they could angle it out using the stone out front, but it looks very, very dangerous.
I think he's looking at either running this blue just off the centre line into the red, then onto the blue, or perhaps even the red outside it onto the red and onto the blue. Both difficult shots.
Slashing the top red, I think, across the face of the red, just at the top of the 8 foot there.
I think they're going between both shots here. Obviously John isn't keen for the draw to the button. Perhaps he doesn't mind giving up a steal and win himself.
I think, yeah, possibly. That's what he's thinking. Don't mind losing one and taking the last stone into the next end.
This would be we'd bring in some momentum though to proceedings from 4-1 up. This could see Team Gilmore go 5-4 into the lead, so they may want to make sure they do score here.
Yep, indeed. I think Team Wilson are maybe suffering from leaving stones out front, because Team Gilmore are getting tucked in behind guards, and it's going to be increasingly difficult for Team Wilson to get a clear sight of the shot.
See, this seems pretty close. They seem pretty happy with it. He's made contact, and that's going to go past the top one. So that is a second steal in a row. So it's the second steal of the weekend, and it goes to Team Gilmore. So that will see them take a 5-4 lead. And as I'd said, having been 4-1 up, Team Wilson won't be best pleased. Move into the 7th end here, and yes, it'll be interesting to see, Louise. I think perhaps Team Wilson may try and keep it a little bit simpler, try and remove some guards and make sure they do score here. I think it would be a big shift in momentum if they ended up losing a steal again here. So they'll probably want to make sure they do score.
Yeah, I think they've really got to go back to basics now and just keep things as simple as possible. They've got last stone, so they've got to give their skip a shot then.
Absolutely, he did it, as we talked about. He did have a shot there. He did have a draw to the button that he elected not to take, and perhaps the risk was worth the reward, because if he'd made that shot perfectly, he would have had a score of 3, which would have been a big score.
Yeah, certainly in the last end there was plenty of room to draw around. If you were dead weight or T-weight, then he would have got the shot, but elected for a tricky raise. Anyway, move on, and certainly the momentum shifted in Team Gilmore's favour.
Absolutely, and no surprise here to see them calling a centre guard. This coming down what seems to be the straighter side of the ice. Maybe they know it slightly better, and they can control that. So they'll want to bring this guard as tight as they can. They'll lead Tom Roach, with sweepers Dave Hibbard and Steve Callan. This one drifting just a little bit, and it does go into the top of the house, so would we expect to see Team Wilson hit here? It looks like they will.
Yeah, they're certainly not going to leave the opposition stones lying about if possible, so just the hit and roll over to a different position.
Absolutely. We talked a little bit in the first half of the game about game management. So the theory would be that you would want to have your hammer in the even ends. So I think they would be content with a blank here to take the hammer into the 8th end. John Fury calling on the sweepers very early, and this does look tight. Let's see if they'll catch any of it, and they do.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Get the stone out of play. I don't know how the time clocks are maybe affecting them as well. We can't see the time clocks for up here, but that's maybe certainly preying on the minds as well. Maybe rushing shots that they would normally do.
Maybe so. I know there's a lot of experience on the ice with time clocks, so we'd hope it wouldn't affect things, but when you are in the heat at the moment, it is tricky. Now, because John Fury did roll out, this gives Team Gilmore another chance to put up a guard, and it looks like this one's quite short. The sweepers are trying really hard to get it over, and I'm not sure that must be just over. So Team Wilson are going to draw in here now. I know they've been caught out previously with leaving guards on. Perhaps I would have elected to appeal this one, but Of course, he can't peel it yet with the free guards in operation. So he'll look to straw in here to the top of the house. The key here will be to keep this tee high. And as we discussed, we have a four stone free guard zone next season. The WCF have approved that will go to 5. And I imagine that all Irish competitions will continue. Now that's a wreck from John Fury. That's a pretty disappointing result.
Unintended tick shot there from John. Shifted the guard off the position it was in, but still guarding a fair chunk of the house if Team Gilmer want to use it, and I think they are now going to try and come in behind.
Yeah, I think Andrew called a guard there, just maybe top of the house or a tight guard. I think it'll be interesting times here. I think if they can get 2 centre guards up, then all of a sudden there is a question to be asked to Team Wilson, whether they get sucked in to play around that centre guard or whether they don't entertain it and they just go for the peel. Sweepers seem to like this shot. They're finishing off just to seem a little bit long. That unfortunately wasn't quite where they wanted it. We'll see. Team Wilson are going to draw around. Are you surprised by this, Louise?
Yep, Team Wilson again electing to use the cover out front rather than removing it. So we'll see if it bites them on the bum this time.
Craig White playing a draw here. Sweepers indicating that it's a decent weight. They're cleaning it. They're sweeping it now. This looks like a good weight. John's joining in. He might be a little bit cold. And that's a very good shot. That's a very good shot from Craig. John joining in just to polish that off, and 3 sweepers there. Team Gilmore are going to chase this round. I'm going to tap this. They have been very good at these softer shots, so let's see if that continues. Steve, I remember, made a very good freeze in the first game, so this one looks a little bit higher of line, so Dave is trying to bend it over. The weight looks good though.
Just slightly.
Team Wilson will attempt to once again to use this cover just by hitting and rolling over. I think if they made a good shot here, Louise, would be Team Gilmer under significant pressure.
Yep, this is just going for the kill now. They really need to score this end, Team Wilson, so they've got their game faces going.
The sweepers going hard here. See if they can get past the centre guard, and they are by just. And they've hit that one. Oh, and they've then rolled over a little bit. That's
just slightly heavy. I'm just gonna lift it to maybe a barrier weight.
Maybe it was slightly less than the skip was expecting. Heavy board for all our Canadian friends out there. Good board, but the interesting outcome of that shot is that it has moved that stone back of the tee line, and this is where Team Wilson had got into trouble before, was by leaving those stones back of the tee line. So a good freeze here, could take the end away from them. But again, Team Gilmore are gambling a little bit, as there are 2 red stones in the house. This line looks good if the weight's there. That's a superb freeze there from Dave Hibbard.
Yeah, well played shot there, and again Team Wilson just falling foul of leaving the cover out front.
If James can make a good freeze right back, this will be interesting. He would be just above the tee line, so Team Gilmore would need to do something. We'll see how it goes. John calling wait only. The sweeper seemed to be going quite hard, and John's John up to join them. This is dangerous now because no one is watching that line. And they are sweeping hard. They've come off it. Has this been overswept? No, that is a perfect shot.
Yeah, lovely stone. It's just bounced off a wee bit, so there's a chance that Team Gilmore could maybe sit on the top, just shift those stones about a bit, get them away from the back end.
Absolutely, I think we're seeing a good quality end here. Had some good shots, and some, especially from the thirds. I think the thirds are really stepping up, and it's been good quality that we've seen. So if we can tap this will be good. Andrew's calling them hard. I think it's diving towards that guard. As you can see it come into the picture, that does look light. And he's rubbed that guard, unfortunately. And it's sat perfectly for a centre, which in this situation I think helps Team Wilson really. Team Wilson now have elected to come to the other hand. This was the side of the ice that was moving a little bit more. And they'll try and come to this back blue.
That's certainly that's swung advantage back now to Team Wilson, because that shows they're locked in the bottom and unguarded.
Even so, it is only one shot, and they don't have much room to score two, so all is not lost for Team Gilmore at the moment. This stone looks very wide. And there's unfortunately not much that can be done with that. So we'll see what Team Gilmore elect to do now.
This might be an occasion for a timeout, so we'll wait and see what happens. See if they call down their coach.
Sometimes when teams aren't used for time clocks, the other thing they're not used to is timeout, so they might not even realise that they do have it. I know that was one thing I did mention previously. I had the privilege of coaching the mixed doubles team last year. That was one thing I said. I made a joke of it, said to them, look, if we're ever on TV, you have to call a timeout. I demand to be able to walk down. And I think actually we were talking about our favourite curling memories. One of my favourite curling memories was at that Scotland versus Ireland game, when we were on the sheet that was furthest away from the stairs for the coaches to walk down, and it called a timeout. So I very calmly took off my jacket, folded it nicely on my chair, strode down very casually, and I realised as I got to the ice that the Scottish senior women's team, I think along with yourselves, were chanting there's only one Owen McCrossan, which was definitely unexpected. Not quite sure what the call here for Team Gilmore is. It looks like it's they were playing some kind of a draw. This again, they've been called out. Maybe a wick in, but this is quite heavyweight, and it's come in.
I'm not au fait with that side of the ice. It's quite obvious that it's just hanging out there. That's two stones that have done nothing on that side of the sheet.
Absolutely. So we'll see John try to do what his third couldn't. He was going to try and come to this back blue, and if he does come to the back blue and just release the red that's sitting behind it, that red that's in the back eight, he could leave himself for the shot for a lot here. There are 4 red stones that are in the rings at the moment. I know it's a little bit difficult perhaps in your picture to see, but the only blue is that one on the back of the 4 that's sandwiched between 2 reds. John's let go of a stone here. We'll see if they've taken off ice. Oh, they're calling now. It seems to it's really gone. Is he going to get by this guard? He is not. He's just caught it. But he has given himself a bit more room. So if he were to try that shot again, he would have a bit more room to do it. And the interesting thing there is that's hung on to the edge. So there are now 5 red stones that are in the rings. They are only lying 1, however. So we shall see what Team Gilmore elect to do. This is a slightly precarious situation for themselves.
The story on about the Scottish ladies seniors team singing "There's Only One Owen McCrossan" reminds me of the Irish ladies team started the same song in Garmisch Park and Kirkin when we had 2 Peter Wilsons playing for Ireland, so there's only 2 Peter Wilsons.
Yes, I was given the honour of he walks to the ice to give them advice, which I thought was quite catchy. If you have any other suggestions for a chance, feel free to send them in. Might get Louise to give us a bit of a sing-song later on. Andrew's coming down here. I think he's just going to try and cut this shot off. The only shot that John really has on is to tap that blue back or come to the full 4 foot for his second point. So if there was one here on the edge of the 4, then that would be very difficult to do. So this one again hanging wide. Don't think they quite know this side of the ice, so we'll see if John attempts the same shot, if there's anything else.
Yep, John Fury's looking for a quick discussion here. Is that about the same ice again, Owen?
Looks a little bit more. So I think with John's release, maybe. Yeah, if he played the same weight, he did catch that guard, and that guard, of course, has moved over. So you would suspect that if he played the same weight in the same line, it should give him a different result this time, to tap that back. Of course, that's the easiest shot, Louise, isn't it? The same again.
Same again, you never put the same again. Is it a bit more weight this time?
An initial sweep call has now been called off, so see if that kills the line. Perhaps it does look like it's hanging out. Are they going to get a wick in here? They could get a bit of a fortunate wick in, and that's rolled across the top and out of the 4 foot. So that will only be a score of 1.
So that's us back to penals. 7th end file.
Yeah, I think at this stage you would perhaps make Team Gilmore the favourite still. If there is, they are in the 8th end with hammer, as we discussed. With that game management, they should be happy having the hammer in the 8th end. The idea is going to be here to try and score in its 8th end, try and force their opponents to 1 in that 9th end, and then score again in the 10th end, and take the victory and take this competition through into Sunday morning.
Yeah, they're obviously kind of conscious of time here. You can see that they're not hanging about, they're just getting in. John Fury's in the huck already. John Wilson's giving them ice, so start of the 8th end.
Absolutely. I think I'm not going to be able to put this off any longer. I have to give a shout out to my partner Jen Ward. She knows how special she is to me, so I need to tell her that. She's been badgering me for a while, so there you go, Jen. Just want to say hello.
Hi Jen, yep, looking forward to our trip to Sweden together. Be great fun.
I just got a message there from Bill Gray, so I think the seniors must be watching again. I hope, guys, you'll have an exciting last few ends to watch. You've tuned in at the right time. Team Wilson are going all guns a-blazing here. They've put a centre guard on, so see how Team Gilmore react to this.
Did you say the senior men are watching? Who are they playing tomorrow in the semi-final in Kinross?
Well, who knows, but they're not the Irish senior men's team, so they're no match for them. So they've gone for a corner guard, which again is quite aggressive from Team Gilmore, but we should then see plenty of stones in play. And let's see, as we talked, Team Wilson have got burnt by leaving cover up front, so it seems they're going on the front foot to try and get in first. And again on that side of the ice, they've just been caught out a little bit.
Side of the ice seems to be much straighter, they're just not getting the finish in the stones.
Even so, that's not a bad call. So Team Gilmore are ignoring this stone. They think in the top 12 that's easy enough to outcount, so they're going to draw around this corner guard. It's an interesting call, as they say, quite aggressive, but this should give us a good end. Really have to be in, as Louise had just said in the commentary box. I think giving 2 corner guards is not ideal, so we'll see see how Team Wilson react to this. Look like they're trying to chip it in. For any of you that may be wondering after that shout out, I can confirm that Jem Ward is not my wife. She's much more important than that. She's my mixed doubles partner. Again, this is hanging out just a little bit. See if they're able to make contact on it. Not quite, it just slips past, but 2 stones in the rings. Let's see if Team Gilmore will do anything different here, or whether they will continue to draw around what is now a double corner guard.
Okay, so I'm just going to remove this front stone here. Now we got a wee roll in behind cover.
Might even try and get the double take out.
Yeah, we can, could get both away. Again, guards out front, just maybe playing into Team Gilmore's hands. Sweepers are off, like slightly, it's definitely getting the front one out and rolls out. So, open house, John says put one right there, top of the 4. Yep, Craig White at second stones. That's not touched by the sweepers.
Craig is, some people may know, is a new father. He said to me that he was looking forward to maybe getting a decent night's sleep in the Premier Inn this weekend. That was his highlight of the weekend. And this looks like a decent draw. He's got good weight, but maybe he's just over curled. It looks like he is in that gap between the corner guards and that centre guard. And a big shout out, of course, to his lovely wife Fiona, who's at home now with the baby, all by herself. So
He drags it out as long as possible, God bless.
he will be back. He will be back, Fiona. He will be back, Fiona. Don't worry. I think, Louise, it's great to see a really competitive game here, especially after that first game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Team Gilmore really hitting the markers and being a nice weight.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things we talked about was them maybe just bringing that hit weight down, which they did there. Okay, they'd over curled, so not the best outcome, but it is a wee bit open now for them. They do have those corner guards in front. Team Wilson will replace this guard, and can see how they get on.
It's a fatal error unless ice playing, too heavy, because unless you hit the stone in the nose, there's nothing much you can do with it. But playing a down weight gives your sweepers a chance to control the stone and hopefully get a better outcome.
The line of this stone, I think, will be perhaps more important than the depth here. They'll want to make sure that they're in front of it. It does look like it's hanging out, so they might just need to bring it fully into the rings.
It's just finishing now. It's just that old side of the sheet that's just not finishing as well as the other side.
He doesn't look best pleased there, does he? Perhaps they're just getting caught out by that side. They're not quite sure where it's going to finish. Teams did say at half-time that they felt the speed was more consistent this game than the first game. But there were a few straight bits on the ice. And that was definitely echoed by the coaches earlier on.
Okay, Andrew doesn't want these stones hanging about, so let's go for the hit and the front one. He's got a stone here.
If this stone can hang around, then that's a pretty good outcome for them. Be interesting to see now. The critical thing will be whether Jones just checking to see who's second shot. Certainly red are line 1, but it'd be a big difference if they were only line 1. Jones going to try and replace that centre guard. Let's see if they can work out this path maybe a little bit better. They've had a couple of goes at it, so you'd hope that they would get it, but this one does look like it's hanging right again. You have to wonder whether it's something in the ice or if it's something in the players' releases, because that's really a long way off where they'd wanted it to finish.
It's a double.
Quite a thin double, I think. I think at the minute they'd just be happy to get behind cover.
Again, Team Gilmer using the stones out front to their advantage. If I can just hit that stone, just drop it 11 o'clock and just get a wee shunt over behind the double guard. A good shot.
Absolutely. Team Wilson are going to have to be careful here if this gets behind cover. We're certainly feeling the tension ratcheting up here in the commentary box. I hope you're feeling it at home. That's a very good shot there from Team Gilmore. I wonder if Team Wilson will elect to take this double. Maybe an off-nose double on these blues on the left-hand side of your picture. There is also a free draw around. If they were to sit 2, then the pressure would be on Team Gilmore. See what they elect to do. John, as we said, didn't want to draw to the button previously, so will they elect for this hit? Louise, what would you favour in this situation?
Well, the cover's still there. I mean, there's a double guard out the front if you get in behind that. I think he's obviously going to go for the hit and the 2 opposition stones here. He is line short, so there's the option as well to guard his shot in the house. Maybe come in top 12 and sit on top of that and force Andrew to try and freeze round, which is not an easy shot, but anyway, John's going for the hit and hope for the double.
If he makes this double, he would like potentially 3 shots, which would then be a question for Team Gilmore. Sweepers are sweeping it all the way, and he's just missed that second shot, so that is only a single takeout. Team Gilmore look like they're lying second shot, so a nose hit here would they would then be looking like they would score a 2, which would be their ideal outcome in this end.
Yep, again, just tactically I think they're just playing into Team Gilmore's hands. Team Gilmore prime position now to take 2 going into the last end. 2 without.
Ninth end. There's still 2 more to go. Yes, this is the 8th end. And Andrew's calling them on hard here. That's a nose hit and a nice double as well. Team Gilmore now sitting 2 stones in the house. I think the best that Team Wilson here can hope for is to just give up that 2. We could get a roll in behind, but I wonder if it's quite a far way to roll. They may not be shot themselves. As we approach the end of the game, I wonder if the experience of Team Wilson might come into play to see that game off, but it doesn't seem to be the case at the moment.
Team Gilmer counting second shot at the back there behind John's foot. I think they maybe are. Or John's kicking it away. I'm getting too excited there.
Tom Roach, quite interestingly, is perhaps calling for a split on this corner one. I don't think that shot is there. I think they'd be safer just drawing for their second point, which looks like that's what they're going to do.
Get the 2 on the board.
I think it's important here, though, for Andrew just to maybe take an extra second in the hack, just to make sure he does make this shot. It is a relatively simple one, but there is a big difference, I think, in them scoring a 2 and them scoring a 1 in this end. So we'll see how this goes. He does just need to be fully in the house, so you would expect him to make this shot. Andrew's calling his sweepers. They're sweeping all the way here, but it does look like a good way. They're sweeping in past the hog line, just keeping it clean. It does look like a good draw, and that will be a score of 2 points for Team Gilmore. They will take a 7-5 lead coming into the 9th end. John now considering his next move. Obviously Team Gilmore will start off this 9th end. John doesn't look best pleased. He'll need to try and keep concentrated for this 9th end.
The body language in the 2 teams has certainly changed dramatically just in the last few ends, and Team Gilmore have certainly got their tails up now, so this is exciting.
Absolutely, we're really enjoying this game. I hope you're enjoying it as much at home. And of course, if you do have any comments or questions, feel free to send them in and keep involved with our hashtag Battle in the Bowl. We're in fact dual in Dumfries. Team Gilmore were calling a guard here, and they've made, as we said, good use of these stones, and again just getting caught out by this side, and they've ended up giving their opponents a corner guard, which wouldn't have been what they wanted to do. So Team Wilson will try to make use of this corner guard, drawing in around of it and trying to stay in front of the tee line. That could build for a multiple score for them. They'll definitely want to score in this end. Scoring a 2 would be ideal, and even more than that if they can get the opportunity, but if they only score 1 point, then they could be confident of a steal of 1 in 10 and then a steal of 1 in 11 to take the game. This draw looks like a good weight, but not quite in the right line. He comes to the side of the 4. He's maybe tucked an edge under, but Andrew's going to freeze again, which will definitely reduce the scoring area for that team. Team Gilmore are looking for a freeze here, and they don't want to move it that far. That's a pretty decent result, but as you can see, John Wilson's sweeping that. He's going to... Team Wilson again are going to freeze here, and this is some aggressive play, so we should see plenty of stones in the house. And it'll be interesting to see who can then maybe come in with the upweight ability at the end. I think John Wilson definitely does have the upweight ability, but so does Andrew Gilmore. He's demonstrated it throughout the weekend. John calling on his sweepers. This does look a little bit light of weight, but it's a good line certainly. The corner freeze is pretty well made, and that's a good shot from John Fury. Andrew looks like he's going to freeze another one in. This is getting really quite technical here, isn't it, Louise?
Yep, this is Freeze City.
Population 3 at the minute. Let's see if I can add a 4th stone in here. I think some of the Team Wilson fans might be getting slightly worried here. But they do have that cushion of being 1 game up, so I think perhaps they just have to remember that and try and free themselves up. See how this is going, if this is going to change the angles. Now this is perhaps where mixed doubles might have a positive impact on the game as a whole. Louise, that's all about angles, and as some experience yourself, do you think that that's helped you as a player?
Sorry, Owen, what did you say there? That stone ended up. That's the question again.
Absolutely. So I said mixed doubles is a game that's definitely about taps and angles, and I think that might have a positive impact on the 4-person game. Do you think that your experience as a mixed doubles player has helped you with that?
Oh, definitely. I think mixed doubles and the 2-man game is a different dynamic to curling, away from the traditional 4-man game. And I think that the thing is that they were keen to get mixed doubles into the Olympic because it's more exciting to watch for television audiences, where the money lies. That's what we're all ruled by these days, than the traditional 4-player game. So you may see in the next couple of decades the popularity of mixed doubles rising, and we're at the forefront of it all. Owen, you and Jen playing in World Championships.
Trying our best, certainly. So we've got an interesting cluster going on here in the house, and Team Wilson do have looks like Team Gilmore are shot. They're a shot stone just biting the top edge of the button, but Team Wilson do have a clear path through to it to hit, so this is something they're maybe Team Gilmore are going to have to be quite careful. They're sweeping hard. I can see James Russell, third for Team Wilson, is looking on, but that guard looks like it has overcurled. Is it going to bounce off? Maybe not quite enough. I think they might try and tap this red back onto the blue here.
Definitely, if they get this right, they could be line 3. This is a crucial shot for Team Wilson, really.
Absolutely, if they get this right, they could even line 4. It would be a big momentum swing, and a big score here would see them hit for home. And just to remind everyone, if we do indeed go for if Team Gilmore do see this game, we will go to a 3rd game. That will be tomorrow. 3rd game is tomorrow at 10 a.m. So there's still a ways to go to see if we'll need that. There's some sweeping going on. They call them off and on. This does look like it's half line, but it looking like a decent shot. And that's a very good shot from Team Wilson. All of a sudden there are four red stones in the house, and there's a lot of pressure now on Team Gilmore.
Well played, Craig Pike, because I think those 3 stones you can see on the left hand side are well buried behind a wall of stones. So yeah, pressure swung back onto Team Gilmore now.
They do have they look like they're going to clean up here, but the red that you can see on the right of your picture, maybe they're saving grace. They could try a bit of an in-off on that at some stage, and that's something that Team Wilson are going to have to be wary of. I'm not quite sure what the angles are from sitting up here, but that may be a last Hail Mary. The minute they're going to try a run back, Andrew's going on. That's a decent outcome. I'm not sure.
Certainly spread the stones a bit more.
Looks like Team
and Team Wilson line 1.
I think they're certainly line 1. It's difficult to tell if they're line more than that. That blue has rolled to quite a nice position. Again, this is where the time clocks will come in. If they have plenty of time, they will be able to pause and think in these crucial moments. But if they are under pressure, then this may be the time that they'll call their timeout. Get Coach Martin Sutherland down onto the ice. Martin's been with the team since their European Sea Championship in Zoetermeer. That occasion they came away with a bronze medal. As we had discussed earlier on, one of I think 3 bronze medals in recent years for the Irish men in the C division. They've made the playoffs in the last 4 years, but haven't quite made that step up to the B division, so certainly looking to do that.
James Russell and John Wilson starts a very short to play here. James thinks maybe use that position stone. We just get a wee edge off it and rolling behind cover in line 2. And John's keen to get it out of there. So let's see what's going for. It looks like a hit.
Does look like a hit. I think the thing they have to be wary of here is just jamming on that back one. There's that one at the back of the 8 foot, so they want to hit this as much in the nose as they can. There's an angle with that red that's frozen to it that they kind of come around the side. James is calling them on, and John is calling them on quite early as well, so this does seem to be moving. He's called them off the last second, and that is that was a jam. I don't think. The good thing here is though that though that stone is jammed, it is exposed, and there are two that are undercover. Difficult to tell who's shot at the moment. I think that Team Wilson still do lie one. And as we say, Team Gilmore are walking a little bit of a tightrope here. They are up by 2 though, so they do have a bit of a cushion. Going for a double here on this one that we'd highlighted earlier on the right hand side of your sheet. Trying to do a bit of it in off and move at least 1, maybe 2 stones.
Yeah, you can see in the faces of the players that the tension's rising as they approach. We're on to the end of this very tight game. To play for.
Indeed, we could be 2 ends from the conclusion of this competition, or indeed another 12, and that is a big mistake there, I think, from Team Gilmore. That isn't really what they wanted to do, was it, Louise?
No, that really wasn't the best result. So that gives Wilson an open hit till I 4. So really putting pressure on Andrew Gilmore to try and get something hidden or get rid of some of these red stones.
I think they'll want to move. They want to hit and roll here. I don't think they quite want to sit in the nose. If they can get by this red, and they do, and they are on the nose again, they'll be.
Just trying to hope maybe just get it behind cover, but it's right in the nose.
Maybe a bit of a disagreement here between Dave Hibbard and Andrew Gilmore as to which double to try. There's plenty of opportunities. I think maybe it's too late in the end to try and cut things down. So maybe they, with skip stones left, they could try and make 2 doubles and give up a 2 or a 3. I think giving up a 3 at this stage wouldn't be the worst result. They take minimum. Limiting their opponents to 2 would be ideal, though.
Yep. Let's just these next few shots are absolutely crucial, but Team Wilson are lying well this end.
Seems the John Wilson fan club is in full swing at the moment, getting lots of positive messages about the pictures on display. But Team Gilmore is certainly making a good go of this game. You can see this is a crucial shot, I think, here. If they can make this shot, then this will be very interesting. This looks high a line though, and he's gone right through the gap. Oh, again, maybe that. I think Louise, that.
He just put his weight up.
We talked about that before, just the higher weight, and it's not going to come with that weight.
That weight, it's not going to move an inch. Just needed to be less weight and just let the stone move over and get rid of at least some of the red stones. So it's all Team Wilson this end.
Absolutely, as Russ Howard, who's my commentating idol, when he says, "Oh, you got to make some noise there. You got to make some noise." So that definitely was the case there. If you were only going to get rid of one, you were still going to cut them down. And at this stage, if Team Wilson can put one near the centre line, it could be in the house, or it might be just above. Then they are going to look good to score here. Scoring a 3-4 or even a 5 would be pretty crucial in this. And if you see them go up by 2 or more, they will hit for home, and they've proven to be quite good at that.
This is looking good. Yeah, USA fans are so looking really good. IC's version of Russ Howard and Cheryl Bernard commentating away here.
Thanks, Cheryl. Does that mean, if you're Cheryl Bernard, does that mean you're off to Pyeongchang with Rachel Holman? This is some discussion going on here amongst the proud parents that we talked about. The same shot is on. Are they going to call a timeout here? Bring Carolyn Hibbard, coach and mother Carolyn Hibbard, down to the ice. This double may be on, and it would be perhaps an all or nothing shot though. Currently Team Wilson are sitting 5. And as I'd said, I think if they take 5, they will go 3 up into the last end, and at that stage I would back them to hit for home. What do you think, Louise?
Yes, this big shot for Andrew. It's really good to get so many stones lying out in front, there's bound to be an angle somewhere.
Absolutely. I think if you can get through that port and hit the red that you can see just on the edge of the forefoot and roll behind to the edge of the button, then that would probably be the safest shot. That may even give him the steal, which would be a big turnaround in this end. But it's a tricky shot, and I mean I think he has to trust it and throw that down weight.
Yeah, I think it's just working out the way he's going to come to it, whether to take his in turn or his out turn. Looks like he's going to go over the in turn there.
We shall see. I think teams must have plenty of times on their clock. They're taking a lot of time here. As far as I can tell, the timeout has not been taken.
Team game there, everybody's getting involved in what they should do.
I think ultimately though at times this can be... Oh, Caroline has been called down to the ice, you can see her there. Just on the right hand side of the sheet, that's Coach Caroline Hibbard. She skipped the Irish senior women's team in Lethbridge in Alberta, the senior women's. See what advice that she has to give. What would be your call here, Louise?
Yeah, I think Andrew's really just got to come down a sort of back four weight and just click off the stone that's lying on the forefoot on the right hand side and just try and rumble over a wee bit, maybe just jump a foot in behind, tucked in behind those three stones in a kind of semicircle.
Absolutely. I think although it is really key to get the input of your teammates at times to skip, you just have to go with what you're comfortable with. You're the one that's going to have to throw that shot, so ultimately you need to be happy with it. So I think whatever weight he's going to throw here, it doesn't look like a lot of ice, so there is a risk if he does throw the bigger weight that
I certainly know that's the straighter slide.
Yeah, he'd thrown the other turn in his previous shot and ended up going through the holes, so we'll see what happens here in this. I think this is definitely the most crucial shot of the game so far.
Absolutely. Let's see what happens.
And Andrew's let go, it does seem that it is quite a heavy weight they're calling on. They've called quite quickly. The stone looks like it's curling, and I'm not sure how the redirect's going to go. And as everything kind of spills and moves, it looks like Team Wilson is line 3. So that will be not the result they'd intended, and an open draw here for 4 for Team Wilson. That would be a big turnaround in this game.
Yeah, I was surprised he played the weight he played to that shot. Probably he maybe thought he needed to be that weight to get onto the side of the shot, but I thought it was too heavy. He didn't need to be that weight.
Yeah, I think he's just there's such a small margin for error at that weight. But again, as we talked about with Team Gilmore, John Wilson just needs to take his time with this one and make sure he does make sure of it. There's a big difference for him going 2 up without than 1 up without, playing down the last end.
Its way, and the sweepers are onto it. It looks like it's being swept. Yep, keeping it going. Plenty to come up against, so weight shouldn't really be an issue.
This looks like a good shot, and that's well managed. And that is 4 for Team Wilson.
Team Wilson are 2 up going into the last end.
So 2 up without hammer. What would you expect to see here, Louise? What's the goal for Team Wilson?
I think they've really just got to keep everything as clear as possible. You know, they've really got to hit for home, not leave any cover lying about. Probably put their lead stones through and then just hit from there. They're in the driving seat now.
Let's see. We might see the first one into the house and then the second one through. We'll see what John does here. I think if you're 3 up, you would certainly want to throw it through. It seems he's going for in the house. We've got some father texting in here, PJ, and he seems to be pleased with that last end, but it's not the best result from John Fury. That would have wanted that in the top of the 4, but at least it's in the house. I think a guard would have been a really poor result there.
was surprised actually that John didn't just ask him to fling it 2 feet through, but who am
I can say that as a career lead, that's my favourite shot to play, is to throw it through. Unfortunately, it doesn't get you any points on the stats there. Team Gilmore will elect to put up corner guards. You should expect them to put up 2 corner guards and probably do it multiple. Team Wilson looks like they're electing to come round this corner guard. It's maybe a bit of a surprise to myself. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they really need to keep this as clear as possible. So I would have tried for the check shot.
Well, it seems to be a change of plan here with the team. They're maybe going to tap it. Maybe going to split their own. Not sure. This doesn't look like a lot of ice, so he's just going to hit his own, which I'm not sure how I feel about that.
It's a good result. They don't need to score, and they just need to take away as many blue stones as possible.
Absolutely, I think the big thing here that they'd be quite comfortable giving up a 2, taking the hammer into the extra end. But if they definitely don't want to be giving up a 3.
That last end was a bit of a body blow for Team Gilmer, who really were the favourites as we spoke about going into the 9th end and gave up a 4. So really, curling fans are really wanting this to go into a 3rd and deciding game tomorrow morning. So let's see what happens.
An extra end would be fun too, and get some bonus curling.
Indeed, an extra end. We haven't had an extra end yet. Ooh.
And unfortunately, that guard placement isn't the best from Team Gilmore. That looks like there would be the chance for a double peel here, but I think a single peel they'd still be happy enough. Craig White, let's see what weight he can throw here. John has called it right out of his hand. The sweepers are working it all the way. Oh, he's called them off now, so maybe it's looking quite good. And that's a very good result there. He's got rid of 2 stones, or one stone and one of his own, and moved another into the house.
Lovely stone. Yeah, that was just what they were looking.
This is interesting now. Team Gilmore are going right into the house. Do you think it's too early to be doing that, Louise?
I would say that really should be sticking with trying to get their corner guards up. It's still early in the end.
Absolutely. The thing here, just for you fans at home, perhaps that are wondering why we're debating that. If you put this one into the house, then you have to leave it in a flat line with that one that's already in the house to not give your opponent a chance at a double. And if they make a double, you would imagine that the end really is over for Team Gilmore unless they can make a freeze. So if you make that corner guard, you preoccupy your opposition with trying to take off that corner guard rather than chasing them on the house, and then you can come in and leave your opponent's limited chances at a double. But it seems that they've elected to try and come into the house, and the sweepers will need to manage this right onto the tee line.
Certainly looks like it's not going to be too long. It is tee line. Yeah, well judged by the 2 sweepers then. But it was going to come up short.
Yep, certainly well managed, and we'll see which one that Team Wilson are going to go after. At the moment they're just going after this one. I think maybe they're slightly surer of the ice. They've just played this path, so they want to hit this one and stay in the house.
Yep, it's accuracy is important now because there's going to be a lot of takeouts. So
absolutely, and I think that
takeouts for Gilman and Cross, takeouts for Wilson and Cross for Gilman. That's going to be a plan from now to the end of this end.
And that's come rolled out of the house, so that's not ideal for Team Wilson. This will give Team Gilmore the chance to split the house. In splitting the house, they're going to try and keep the stones as far away as possible. You can see Andrew tapping there on the left hand side of your screen. That's where he's going to want this stone to end up. So the interesting thing here will be, in doing this, they look like they will secure their 2, but at the same time they're not really giving themselves a chance at a 3.
So this is making John Wilson think now, does he keep the plan of hitting, or does he try and go for a freeze at some point? Take the advantage away from Andrew Gilman.
I think if it's me, I'd be happy to hit all the way. You know, if you give up a 2 in this, you still have hammer in the extra end, and you would hope that you could score in that extra end.
These draws have to be perfect weight. Now this is short. This looks as if it's going up short.
It is short, but perhaps still a useful stone. If Team Wilson hit this, I wouldn't be surprised to see Team Gilmore ignore the one on the wing and draw right round into the 4-foot behind that guard.
Yep, another hit here from Team Wilson, and there's cover out front for Andrew Gilmore.
Will be crucial here for Team Wilson to hang around. If they do roll out, then it looks like they're going to. It does give Team Gilmore that free chance to come around the centre. All of a sudden the score of 2 or more could be on here.
Nobody wants to make a mistake now. Yep, their knees will be shaking when they go into the hack. They've got to concentrate and play in the weight.
I know when Jen and I were fortunate enough to win the mixed doubles in our last end we were playing, we both admitted afterwards that we were feeling less than calm on the inside, but we both thought that each other was okay because we seemed to be calm on the outside. So I think that's perhaps what the teams are going to try and do in here, just to exude that air to their teammates and to their opponents that they're completely calm and in control.
So this is not drawing soon enough. It's the 4-foot, so just a straight hit again.
Yeah, James is going to hit here, and I think the conversation here was that they were happy if he takes this guard. I think the guard is still a problem stone for them. One in the house obviously isn't ideal, but if the play is in the house, then they're going to still have a chance at a double. And again, that is a rollout from James, which isn't a perfect shot, so we'll see Team Gilmore come back around this centre guard.
Yeah, it's fairly clearly defined path now that Team Gilmore are going to use that guard and try and get hidden and try and force Team Wilson into a mistake and pounce for their 2.
And they have played this shot once before, so they should be more familiar with the ice and with the weight. So let's see if they can bury this top of the tee.
Working it hard. Tom Roach and Steve Cullen. Andrew's going out to help them here. Just going to creep into the house. Just going to creep in. Yep.
We can hear some anxious sounds from parents sitting along here. You know, then Andrew's mum Diane is very involved with Andrew and really wants the team to do well.
But the chance of taking the double here, do you think, going, or is he going for the shot in the house?
I think he's going for the shot in the house. If he was going to play the double, I think he would maybe play it on the other side, try and fire the guard across the top and catch them. But there is a jam risk there, so they know this path and they're pretty content to do this. The way this is panning out, that long guard isn't really splittable. So if John is able to get rid of 2 more stones, then he would hope that he could win this game. So this is Andrew's first stone. He feel he needs to bury this, and if he doesn't, then Team Wilson will have a hit for what is probably the win.
Yeah, Andrew's really got to bury this first one and try and force John Wilson into a mistake. There's a chance of maybe splitting. The front one's maybe foot and a half away from the house, so there's a chance he could roll both of them in and lie to with this last stone.
I think.
Let's see who does his first one.
Absolutely. I think it is maybe a wee bit further than a foot, so it might be a pretty difficult split, but I think that they'd certainly play it if they had to. We'll see what he does with this first one, as you say. You can see Andrew the hack there as he kicks off over this shot. Sweepers seem to like it, maybe a little bit heavy. Andrew's calling them on now. Not sure if line is slightly tight. They're sweeping incredibly hard here, and they have got it by, and it is just in the top of the house. So looks like Team Wilson are just going to play the same shot and try and chip that one out the side.
Yeah, lovely play from Andrew Gilmer there. Never far away. He's a good last stone player.
Absolutely. It seems I think he would have wanted just maybe 2 feet more running on that, so he could bury it right round. John will hope to, as we say, to chip this one out, and if he does, we will look at Team Gilmore trying the split. It is a difficult enough shot, but John will have to make sure that he doesn't clip the guard, or there will be a free draw for the two.
Gallery as well. This looks slightly wide.
Oh wow, that is a big miss. There was lots of tension in the viewing gallery. You can hear proud parents getting very excited. So here we go, and as we've discussed before, Andrew will just want to take a few seconds here, just to make sure that he knows the weight, knows the path. This is an important shot for him. He needs these 2 points to take this to an extra end.
Yep, he's just got the play the same shot again, and we're into an extra end. How exciting for everybody watching. Oh, tension.
Absolutely, and as we said, you can keep involved in this conversation by using our hashtag #BattleInTheBowl, and you can contact us through all the various social media channels.
To paraphrase Alex or Alec Ferguson, curling, bloody hell.
I think it was a bit late with the beeper button there to keep Louise PG, but sorry Fraser, if you listen to this. Little baby Fraser doesn't want to be hearing that kind of language, so this final stone is away. And is this going to be a paraphrase of Turnby? Oh, he's heavy. Oh, he's heavy. Well, John's eyeing it up. It is sitting down. He's sweeping. He's going, oh, he's heavy. Oh, he's through. Oh, he's right through. That was a real shame, and that means with a score of 1, Team Wilson are the 2018, or the score 1 for Team Gilmore, Team Wilson are the 2018 Irish Men's Champions.
Well, that was a disappointing conclusion, but we were hoping for an extra end. But it's a win for Team Gilmore, and that's the end of our coverage from Dumfries High School. Congratulations to Team Wilson.
Thank you very much for joining us, and hope you join in any of our future broadcasts. Thank you.